All right, hello. It is 9 p.m. on September 15th, 2020. Welcome to the weather update. Before we get started talking about Sally, the smoke was pretty thick today. The sun was dimmed by about 50%. Very hazy skies. This is sort of what it looked like today. Just a lot of haze in the sky. It wasn't even enough to like illuminate things. It was like really a weak sunset, a weak sun all day long. And then as we got to sunset, things really, the sun really just got dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And there you go. You can see it's just turning red, and there it is. This is just before the sun disappeared, about a half an hour before. You see the horizon's all the way over here, but the sun started dimming and becoming invisible because the smoke was so thick that it was blocking the sun almost completely. And I have another video of that later. But let's get to Sally right now, because we have Hurricane Sally now starting to slowly approach the Alabama coast here. It looks like it's heading right for Mobile, Alabama, and Pensacola as well. This is the area that's going to get hit. You can see here's the eye. Here's the rain bands here on the radar. We're going to look at it on the satellite right now. And you can see still some really robust convection going on around it. It might be trying to strengthen just before it makes landfall. The only break that we had is because it actually slowed down much more than we thought, and it slowed down so much that it used up all the energy and the heat in the area that it was in. So luckily, it couldn't strengthen up to a Category 3 or a Category 4. That's the only good news there is to report regarding Sally. So let's go to the latest from Hurricane Center on Hurricane Sally. Latest public advisory on Hurricane Sally as of 7 p.m. So the tropical storm force winds are spreading onshore along the north central Gulf Coast. We have historic life-threatening flooding that is likely. So its location is 29.6 north, 88.0 west, about 75 miles south of Mobile, Alabama, or about 75 miles southwest of Pensacola, Florida. Maximum sustained winds are at 80 miles an hour. So it's not a Category 2 anymore. It's Category 1. It's moving barely north at 2 miles an hour. Literally, it's moving at a walking pace. At a slow walking pace. Minimum central pressure 975 millibars or 28.79 inches. And the hurricane force winds extend outward up to 40 miles from the center, and the tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 125 miles from the center. And it says a gust of 55 miles an hour and 70 miles an hour were recently observed at the Petit Bois Island in Mississippi, and a sustained wind of 54 miles an hour and a gust of 66 miles per hour was recently reported at Dolphin Island in Alabama. So let's look at some of the current observations in the area. Look at this, though. Here's a gust to 98. So this thing may be strengthening again because we have a wind gust to 98 miles an hour at this oil rig here. And this oil rig is reporting a west-southwest wind at 73, gusting to 98. And barely any visibility, so you know the conditions are very bad. And this is the backside of the storm. All right, so we don't even see what's going on the front side of the storm. The backside might actually wind up being worse than the front side of it. But looking at these observations, you've got gusts all over the place, 40s, 50s, definitely some gales, tropical storm force winds now being experienced in this area. So let's go back to the Hurricane Center, and we will go look at the warning cone here that we have. So you got that hurricane warning in effect now. Louisiana doesn't have any hurricane warnings. Tropical storm warnings mainly east of New Orleans. It's the coastline of Alabama, Mississippi, Alabama, and the western part of the Florida Panhandle that's going to be dealing with the storm. And again, it's moving really slowly. Although it's not a really intense hurricane, it's not a Category 3. It's going to be like, because it's just going to sit over the same area, which means the rainfall, you're going to have the combination of the heavy rainfall over the same spots and the winds and the storm surge that are going to be piling up. And if we're going to look at the rainfall potential here, you'll see this is from the Hurricane Center. They're forecasting over 20 inches. That's 2 feet or more of rain possible in the worst hit part of this area here. So that's just a ton of rain in that area. It's just going to be a huge amount of rain, and then you put that on top of the storm surge, and you can see here you're going to have storm surges 4 to 6 feet, and it's going to be lasting for a long time. because the storm is taking its sweet time. It's barely moving. And that's why this is going to be such a major natural disaster. Although, fortunately, it's not a Category 3 or 4. It's not going to make a huge difference when it comes to the flooding and the storm surge. It's only going to make a difference at the winds not being quite as damaging to structures. But this is going to be very bad. And then we have other storms to deal with. We have Paulette, 100-mile-an-hour winds. It's moving out in the open ocean. Minimum central pressure 970 millibars, 39.5 north, 55.0 west, moving east-northeast at 30 miles an hour. So it's now been picked up in the jet stream and it's moving along. We have Tropical Storm Teddy, max sustained winds now at 65 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 997 millibars, located at 14.6 north, 47.9 west. It's moving west-northwest at 13 miles an hour. And Tropical Storm Vicky, which has maximum sustained winds of 45 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 1,004. Let me move this over so you can see that. Minimum central pressure 1,004, located at 21.2 north, 32.1 west, moving west-northwest at 12 miles an hour. Then we have this disturbance, which has a fairly this one coming off the coast right now, and then you have this one too. So we're probably going to see another named storm within the next probably several days. Which is pretty insane when you think about it. The one that we will have to watch a little more is Teddy, so I'm going to click on this one here. And this is going to become a major hurricane, and look at that. It looks like it could head right for Bermuda again. Oh, boy. So this one's forecast to become a major hurricane. Nothing's been issued yet for this. We got to get done with Sally first before I deal with these other storms. But this we're going to have to keep an eye on for sure. Here again is the satellite loop. We will look at a couple more satellite images here and I want to show you. Let's go to the Gulf of Mexico here. So we got to look at Sally on the regular satellite. Here is Sally on the regular satellite, and look at that. I mean, that looks like some pretty intense good convection there. Actually, I can change this to this so you can see. You can sort of see it here on the enhanced, but let's move this over to the actual visible / shortwave IR. It's gonna actually, it should convert over, I think. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. So you can see the thunderstorms popping up there and that convection. So it looks like it's undergoing intensification. So it does definitely look like it's intensifying, and it could intensify rapidly as it makes landfall, which again would be very unfortunate, but kind of likely at this point. We deal with everything going on. We'll change this over. We'll look at Hurricane Paulette here briefly. It's not looking quite as well organized. Let's get this loaded here, and it's racing away. So it's getting picked up. It's getting sheared. And it's moving northeast quite rapidly. It's kind of stuck at 43, but you can sort of see it's moving northeast kind of rapidly. I don't know what's going on with this site here. Let's look at Teddy. It doesn't seem like I have a satellite image of Teddy. Well, yeah, it's not working. Let's see if we can get this. I'd like to use the Tropical Tidbits site because it kind of has it over the actual storm. But you can start to see Teddy taking shape. You can definitely start to see it taking shape. So we'll have to watch this one, but mainly we have to watch Sally. So let's go to the models here, and we'll take a look and see where Sally is going to head and what the GFS does with it as far as things go. So let's get right to it. Southeast United States. Here's Sally right here. Making landfall. This is the GFS, and you can see it looks like it almost strengthens it a little bit before. So you never know. It could go back up to Category 2 again before making landfall, and it's going to make landfall Wednesday morning, and then slowly move up through the state of looks like Mississippi on the Mississippi-Alabama border, and it's going to take a while to weaken too. So they're going to have hurricane-type conditions, even maybe 50 to 100 miles inland before this thing starts weakening up. And then they're just going to be left with the rain, and then you can see it kind of gets suppressed to the south there. This is the GFS as far as the let's take a look at the NAM. This is the NAM. The NAM seems to wrap it up a little more almost. That is quite wrapped up there. And then you can see it weaken when it finally starts. It will start moving as we get to it tomorrow night. It'll finally start picking up the pace a little bit. But it's going to take, like I said, hours and hours. It's starting. They're starting to get the eye wall now on the coast, and they're going to be dealing with that eye wall for a long time, and that's the problem. So let's go and look at the winds prog on the NAM, and you will see here it does actually have it strengthening just a little bit before landfall, and then once it makes landfall, the winds will deteriorate, but you're still going to be left with all that rain. And if we look at the rainfall here, you will see total accumulated precip. Look at that yellow area. That's 2 feet or more of rain. So that's an incredible amount of rain. The flooding in this area is going to be devastating. And that's just from the fresh water. Then you have the salt water. That's also the storm surge that's also going to pile up. Let's look at the GFS as well. Pretty much in agreement there with the rainfall amounts. And as we track it along, you'll see how the rainfall kind of goes. It will go through Alabama, northwest part of Georgia, into North Carolina, Virginia. They'll be getting some rains from this on the order of maybe 3 or 4 inches. Not as bad as here, but there's going to be a lot of rain. But we're not going to see any of that. It does not look like we're going to see any of that rain that they'll be getting. So we'll go look at windy.com here. Well, let's go to power outage map first of all, because we do have some power outages occurring here. Let's look at Alabama here. 35,000. That number's going to go up. It's mainly along the coast. Baldwin County and Mobile has 18,000. So mostly these southern counties here are getting the outages mainly from the wind. But the flooding can also cause power outages if substations get affected. Let's look at Florida here. You have 22,240, and again, I believe most of those are in, the extreme western parts of the Panhandle, Escambia County. So again, these are the areas that are going to deal with the power outages from this. Let's go to windy.com. Alright, so here's the storm right here. I'm even going to look at Paulette. Alright, this is what we got to look at. So this is the GFS here. Sustained winds on the GFS. I use the wind gusts because I think it's more accurate to use this. This is a little more like what we're seeing here. So you could see here that the worst winds are still offshore. You could see here that here is the wind coming in, and it's going to pile the water up in these areas right here. Mobile, and this is 9 p.m. So let's move this along to 11 p.m. Barely moves. The core is still actually just offshore. Let's go to 3 a.m. You can see, look at it. It's starting to intensify. This is the GFS. This is the European that we're looking at. I have to look at the GFS too. This is the European. And if you go over here, you'll see the European has this going up closer to 100 miles an hour. And again, it's still barely moving. Let's go to 5 a.m. The core is still mainly offshore. It still hasn't really made landfall. The eye wall is still offshore. So this Euro is really slow. Let's go to 11 a.m. Now at 11 a.m. it finally starts affecting certain areas, and it looks like, again, it's strengthened. It might become a Category 2 again. This is again the European, and then finally it looks like it makes a landfall in the afternoon. It looks like somewhere around Pensacola, and Pensacola could get winding up getting the brunt, and Mobile may not even get the brunt of it. According to the Euro, it might be Pensacola as far as the winds go. But I'm assuming that where the strongest winds are will also be where the strongest rain is. You got to remember that's where the heaviest rain, the heaviest thunderstorms that circle the eye wall are around. Let's go to 10 p.m. And then finally it's inland and finally starts weakening. By tomorrow night, it's finally starting to move. It's inland, but we still have almost hurricane force conditions in the Florida Panhandle. It looks like the worst of it ends up hitting the Florida Panhandle, according to the Euro. Moving it along to 3 a.m. Got still barely moved. The center is still. This is Thursday morning now. It's still over the Florida Panhandle. Let's go to 8 a.m. Thursday morning. Finally starting to move a little more now. As we get into Thursday, here it is over 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 Alabama, and this would just be a tropical storm at this point, but still enough wind and enough rain to cause some problems probably. And then finally, look at this, it's still over Alabama. Let's go to Thursday night. All right, fine, it's over Georgia, so you can see how slow it's moving. This is Thursday night. You still have the remnants of it over Georgia. Let's go, and then finally by Friday, we start seeing the remnants make their way to over to North Carolina. So that's what the European looks like. So it's a little different. It's a little south and east of the GFS. Let's go look at the GFS here. The GFS is a totally different look. So this is the GFS tonight. Not as strong. This is 10 p.m. tonight. Let's move this along to 12. It's not as strong, the GFS, and it's taking it more northerly. So GFS might be a little quicker movement. Yeah, GFS definitely is faster movement. So GFS is a little further west and gives Mobile more of the brunt of it. Though Pensacola could wind up getting hit hard too by these, and they would be dealing with Category 1 hurricane conditions. GFS does not seem to think it's going to strengthen that much more, but the Euro may be onto something here. This is the GFS Wednesday afternoon, and the eye may have just passed over Mobile sometime in the middle of the day tomorrow, perhaps, and then it's just slowly moving again. It's just a little bit different. It's a little further north and a little further west, and not quite as strong on the GFS. But I have reason to believe that the Euro may be more accurate with this as far as the intensification goes. Because I noticed in the last satellite round that it looked really like it was really starting to blossom up, because it's now moving. It's moved away from the area it was sitting, and it's going to move on to some warmer water just before it hits the shore, and it could strengthen. So this could be very bad. Again, you can have that storm surge coming in. We're going to go back to the European model here, and we're going to actually look at some of these waves that are going to be created by this, because these are the waves here that are going to be created. So nearly 20 footers tonight, and these waves are going to just be inundating this area. Is just going to be a lot of flooding, and it's going to make its way into Mobile as well. So this is it's going to be mainly the flooding that's going to be the most damaging part of the storm. There will be wind damage, but it won't be known for the wind. It will be known for the copious amounts of rain and the flooding from the storm surge. This is going to be terrible for these cities, especially Mobile and Pensacola. They could be inundated, and going to be very devastating. And I really hope that most of the people in this area have evacuated and gotten inland away from the flooding risk. I really hope they did, because it's going to be bad. And if we look at the sea surface temperature, you'll see how warm it is here. You got temperatures in the mid 80s, so plenty strong enough for a tropical system to really take hold and strengthen. So let's take a look at the larger picture now of things. We'll go to the eastern U.S. and we'll go to the upper air. We also have to deal with the smoke too, so that's the other big story that we have to deal with. So here is Sally moving inland. You see we got this ridge over to the north of it, which is kind of keeping it down, and then another trough will dig down and push some cooler air, and hopefully this will be enough of a cooler shot Friday, Saturday to push the smoke farther south than this time. Here is Teddy. So the poor folks in the unit may have a close call with Teddy, and Teddy recurves, fortunately. And then there's like another trough that kind of forms off the coast here, which is kind of interesting, like a cutoff low or something that kind of forms. And then we have more ridging, but nothing really, nothing in the long range. It looks like it's threatening the east coast, fortunately, because we have that jet stream coming down and keeping and deflecting all the storms away from us, fortunately. So let's go to the surface. So again, here's Sally. So the remnants of Sally pass well off to the south and the east Thursday evening into Friday. We've got another high building in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Should be another beautiful, hopefully a beautiful weekend with nice blue skies. And that high is just going to sit over us and give us beautiful weather. And hopefully we can get rid of the smoke by then, because we're going to have one hell of a nice stretch if we can get rid of this damn smoke. That'll be great. If not, it's going to stink because we would have had nice weather if it wasn't for the smoke. Um, so let's go look at our temperatures. We'll go a little closer here, and we'll again take a look at our temperatures and the smoke situation as well. So let's. Nope, that's the wrong one. All right, here we go. So we're looking at the GFS here. It'll get a little warmer tomorrow. We'll probably be today. We were only in the. We'll go to the. Do I have the weather? Yeah, I have this. All right, so we'll go to our area here. Go to our weather today. Today was very cool. So right now our current temperatures outside are very comfortable. Temperatures are in the upper 50s and low 60s. So it's very nice, except in the alley outside my window where it's more like in the mid 60s. But dew points are still very low. Upper 40s, low 50s. No need for the air conditioner tonight. Finally, finally was able to turn it off last night. So very cool day, and the smoke, because of the reduced solar radiation, we actually wound up being cooler than we were expecting. We didn't even get close to 70. Let's take a look at the maximum temperature here, the high temperatures. 66 in Central Park was the high. So I believe the last time Central Park was this cool was sometime back in May. And so highs across the island, mainly the mid 60s. That's all we got to was the mid 60s, which definitely is quite a bit below normal. In New Jersey, maybe mid 60s there too. So mid 60s pretty much everywhere. It was very, very cool day today. So we'll be a little warmer tomorrow. Temperatures rise up into the low 70s. And it will be a cool night tonight, too. We're going to probably drop off into the 50s, probably mid 50s. We see that southerly wind develop, so we'll see somewhat warmer temperatures tomorrow. Thursday, we get to the upper 70s, maybe 80 degrees in the city of New Jersey. I don't think we're going to see it on the island. And then look at Friday. We have dropped down again. Only highs, only in the mid 60s, perhaps, mid and upper 60s. Same thing for Saturday. We may not get out of the 60s. And same for Sunday. So it's going to stay cool and dry pretty much is the trend here. A couple of warmer days here and there. It looks like a couple, but more or less, looks like it does try to heat it up with that ridge. Might be a ridge that might try to build in as we get toward the end of the month. But right now, we're dealing with this nice cool air. So let's go and look at our dew points, because we are having some very nice low dew points, and we'll see a little increase in those tomorrow. Dew points in the mid 50s, still comfortable. Thursday, we're still gonna have dew points in the mid 50s, so we're still, and then this really nice dry air comes down. Dew points back in the 40s. Northeast winds, 30s, 20s. Dew points perhaps on Saturday and Sunday. Really nice, and the dew points just stay low until. I mean, there's no real sign of humidity coming back until maybe not this weekend, but next weekend, maybe if that ridge tries to build back. Yeah, look at the skies. Now, this doesn't show us the smoke, unfortunately. This does not show us the smoke. So it looks like mostly sunny day tomorrow, but we're going to have the smoke around, so probably be hazy like today. Thursday, we'll see some more clouds. And Friday, we'll probably be dealing with some of the peripheral cloudiness from the remnants of Sally, and then we push that south of us on Saturday, hopefully, and we're going to have a sunny day. However, it looks like there's a wave that passes just to the south. The front might get hung up a little bit Sunday and Monday, so I might have to wait until the week for it to get out of here. And that looks like Teddy right there. So pretty much keeps us fairly nice. Let me go to the NAM cloud cover as well. We'll use this as well. And most of those clouds on Friday will be dealing with the hike. Now, the NAM seems to have a lot more lower cloudiness coming in off the ocean for whatever reason. I don't know if I'm buying that. Might be overdone. Thursday we'll have more of the cloudiness. And that would be the only chance that we might see a little rain. Let's see if we go to the 12 kilometer. If we get into any of that rain, any of that shower activity. There might be a little bit of shower activity. And then over maybe Friday morning a little bit. The NAM seems to take it a little closer to us. We'll have to keep an eye on that. It all depends on the track of Sally, how close that gets. And right now, we're still not sure. So it's kind of hard to say what's exactly going to happen here. Now let's get to the smoke forecast. All right, I got to use Earth and Old School for this one. There's Sally. You see Sally there, but let's look at the smoke forecast and see what we got here. Air particles, PM10. Alright, so you can see all the smoke there, and again, we don't have anything pushing it south because the jet stream's kind of zonalish right now. So let's move this along here. Alright, this uses the European model, by the way, for smoke prediction. So we're still, this is, what are we at? Is we 1 day here? Yeah, alright, so this is tomorrow. This is Thursday. This is Friday. So it's getting better. This is Saturday. I don't know, I think this is a little behind. I don't know, this might be a little behind. It's saying, let's see, 9:17. Yeah, it's putting it at every 6 hours. So, but you can see the smoke is getting pushed to the south. That's the main thing. So when the pattern gets cooler, we should be able to finally push this smoke to the south. This is the 19th. So we'll finally get rid of it as we get into the weekend, I think, hopefully. But you can still see it's just a huge expanse of smoke. And of course, it's hard to predict because you have to predict how the fires are doing. So let's go look at the current high-resolution satellite here. And it feels like there's something in the air. I don't know. I know they're saying it's at high levels, but it feels like there's some particles in the air. The air just doesn't seem like there's almost like I can't explain it, like a ashy smell in the air. Yeah, you can see how the smoke is just traveling from the West Coast. It's basically getting caught up in the jet stream here. Let's get this. Yeah, this is a good view here. This is a good image. So you can see here, there's another storm there in the Pacific, by the way. Let's look at the Atlantic. There you go. Teddy, Vicky. There's an upper level. This might become something too. And Paulette. Here is, again, that smoke. So you can see it's kind of just, you can see it kind of, we need the cooler at what we need to get rid of the smoke and what we should get later on. So let's draw a little bit here, show you what's going on here with the smoke. So you can see the smoke's just getting caught up in the jet stream, pretty much streaming across like that. But what should happen, change the color, and I'll draw. What should happen is we should get this cold front coming through and giving us clean air from the north in Canada, and hopefully pushing this smoke to the south as we get towards Saturday. So that's our hope anyway. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this weather update. Take care, and I'll keep you posted on Hurricane Sally. Take care, everybody.